I tried all of the hip mobility drills and exercises out there, but I recognized that doing this for years on end, it did not give me lasting results. I had to really contemplate and ask the question, why isn't this actually working? And I came to realize that there's a very particular reason, and my hip mobility changed drastically as soon as I started to incorporate this concept. Now, let's understand that clamshells or 90-90 drills with your hips, or if you are doing hip cars, these can all be great and there's a time and a place to use them. But if you do not understand this key concept, as soon as you start getting up and walking around, you start running, performing activity, doing a weight training session, then you probably recognize that, why do my hips start to lock up again? What is actually missing? And the main concept is that you are training your hips in an open chain environment, meaning your foot is not properly fixated on the floor relative to what the hip is doing. When we are walking in the gait cycle, for example, we need to start with supination, meaning a higher foot arch, and then the foot needs to flatten and pronate, and then we move into resupination. This is critical, but as the foot changes shape, so should the hip. As the hip moves into different rotations, so should the foot. But what if your foot cannot change shape properly? What if it is stuck in a certain foot shape? Or what if you have a lack of a certain rotation in the hip? I'm gonna show you how to help unlock all of this through this one critical exercise. And all you're gonna need is 2 pairs of socks, which sounds very interesting, and your body weight. The first step before we start using the socks for our specific foot contacts is I want you to get a sense and awareness to when we rotate to one side while both of our feet are on the floor, what is happening to the hip and the foot. So we're just gonna stand with our feet under our hips and just find a nice neutral balance. Don't overthink it too much. And now what I want us to do is we're gonna rotate over to the right, and just kind of get the sense of and awareness of what is my foot doing and what is my hip doing. You don't need to understand all the biomechanics of that. Even if I explain it, you just have to know how to execute this exercise and the next exercise properly. If I am rotating to the right, I am moving my pelvis towards that right leg, but my foot arch should actually be building and getting higher. You can see this if I were just to do a single leg. If I am rotating to the right, my foot arch should be building into more supination. As I rotate to the left, my pelvis is moving away and my foot should be flattening. So do this a few times. You can do this 5, 10, 15 rotations in each direction and see if you can feel that this is happening. Foot arch building, pelvis turned towards that side, foot is more so flattening, and my pelvis is turned away from that side. And then we're going back and forth. As soon as you can feel and sense this, this is going to be a major first step for the next progression. So once you've accomplished that, we're gonna grab these socks. They can also be small tea towels if you would like. And we're gonna position this under specific points in our foot. The first one is gonna be under the first metatarsal head, meaning here's my big toe just on the knuckle. The second one's gonna be underneath the heel, just like that. And then the third one's gonna be on the 5th metatarsal head. So here's my pinky toe. It's gonna be just behind that like this. Those are the 3 foot contacts that we wanna be aware of. So now we're gonna get into a single-legged stance. This is where we're gonna start creating foot and hip mobility at the same time. First thing I want us to do is we're gonna pick one leg. I'm gonna start on my right side. As I do this, I'm shifting my weight here. I'm not over here. I'm shifting my weight so that my head is over top of that foot. Now I'm slightly just bending that knee. I'm having a soft knee. My back leg is just into a kickstand, so I could, if I wanted to, lift it off of the floor. Now from here, I want you to feel that you're bringing a little bit of your weight forwards. Not because you're bringing your neck forwards, not because you're bending forwards, because your ankle joint is bringing you a little bit more forwards like this. I'm going to show you from a different view. do. My ankle is moving into a little bit more dorsiflexion. So we're gonna be around here and we're gonna be feeling more of the midfoot. Don't think heel heavy, think more midfoot heavy. What we're gonna do is start to do what we were doing before, but on a single leg. And then we're gonna incorporate this and show you a progression to make this even more challenging. As I am here, all I'm gonna start off by doing is recognizing when I turn my pelvis to the right. Doesn't have to be a lot to start, because if you have a little bit of mobility and a lack of mobility, you might just move it a few degrees. As I'm doing this, I want you to feel that you're more so bringing your weight to the outer portion of this fifth metatarsal head, so that outer sock and the outer portion of the heel. But you're not losing contact with the ball of the big toe. So now I just move my pelvis here, okay, feeling more weight on that fifth metatarsal head and the outer portion of my heel, but my big toe knuckle did not leave the ground. I should feel my arch is actually getting bigger. Now from here, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm gonna turn my pelvis away from this side. Doesn't have to be drastic, but just slowly keep the weight there. Nothing else is changing. And we're just turning it to the opposite direction. Now what should be happening is the knee is slightly bending a little bit more. So look from this direction. It's slightly bending a little bit more, which we need. When we bend the knee over the toes, that's creating more ankle dorsiflexion, which is creating more pronation, more flattening of the foot, which is critical for this. So now I'm feeling more emphasis on the ball of the big toe and the inner heel, but the outer portion of the fifth metatarsal head is not leaving the ground either. But I want more emphasis on these 2 points. We're just going to very slowly keep our weight on the stance leg, and we're gonna come back into this direction. My knee is coming back slightly, but I'm not snapping it back like this. I'm just bringing it back naturally, feeling the arch is building, more outside foot, and then as I'm moving away from that side, the foot is starting to pronate. So perform about 5, 8, even 10 rotations in each direction, nice and slow. And this is how we create communication with the foot all the way to the hip. Now, if you want to progress this, all we're gonna do is incorporate just a little bit of a hinge, because a hinge is its own world in and of itself. But what we're gonna do is bring the hip back without anything else changing. My knee didn't change, my foot didn't change. I just feel more weight in that hip and in that glute, which is great. Now, as I'm here, I can do the same thing. Let's start off small, little turns. I'm feeling more outside foot. And then as I move away, I'm feeling a little bit more of those inside foot contacts. So now I might only be able to do 4 rotations on each side. That's okay, but do not just get into a full-blown hinge. Start off nice and slow. Once you do this on one side, do it on the other and become aware of which side felt easier. Because I bet for a lot of us, it's gonna feel easier on our right leg to turn to the right, relative to turning to the left. And I also bet for a lot of people, not everyone, if you're on the left side, it's gonna be easier to turn away from this side, but harder to turn into this side. So what should I be doing? Training more of this action. Now let's say on the other side, you're better at turning away from this side, and it's harder to do this, then you should be training more of that. And that's gonna slowly help bringing more balance to your feet, your tibias, your femurs, your pelvis, and everything up the chain. If you felt restricted in any of these joint actions that I was showing you, whether that's in your foot or your hip, I show a lot of fascia decompression techniques on my YouTube channel. I'll have a couple of videos linked below. So if you've recognized your foot can't change shape effectively, or you're feeling blocked, literally blocked in the hip, and you just can't move enough, then you might want to use an external tool, such as a tightly rolled up towel or a block from block therapy, to help release these adhesions within our fascia to create more hydration, so that we're creating enough space so that we can more effectively move in and out of these joint positions and allow our foot to change shape relative to what the hip is doing. We'll see you in the next video.